Hey everybody, welcome to episode 13 of Battletech, A Time of Total Warfare. I think we're running ahead of how behind we normally are.
A little bit.
But without the extra time, I'm running behind on my preparations, so I might be busy while we do introductions. I am, of course, Arthur Perkins, and this is APGamingREAL. Rad, let's start with you tonight, because you just put food in your mouth, so I decided it would be best to arbitrarily punish you for doing that. You're muted.
One day.
Try your mic itself.
Is the light flashing on the mic? If it's flashing, that means it's muted. Still can't hear you.
We're going to cut sideways to Sid. Who knew that things would be such a disaster to start out with?
Yeah, so hi everyone. How are we doing? It's been an interesting week for me so far. Started a new diet, and it's crazy. It's insane. And I regret spending so much money on a bunch of stuff because I also just received an email exactly an hour ago, an invitation for a press pass for the GDC conference that is happening in March next month. So that's down in San Francisco. So if I can swing it, if I can raise up enough money, or if I can figure out how to save up enough money, then I will be going to San Francisco towards the end of March for that. So that's super exciting. I've never actually been to any form of a conference at all.
Now, you're going as a member of the press, right? As a journalist.
It's a press pass.
I see. You can no longer lie about being a member of the press. I understand now.
Oh, yes, those technicalities of such. No, it's basically just because I'm a YouTuber of sufficient size that they decided, yeah, I could probably promote some crap or something.
Yeah, you're a digital influencer now, my friend.
Doesn't mean I'm a journalist.
With the press pass.
With a press pass. Doesn't mean I'm a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
You do report about stories of games and such.
My videos are op-ed. Basically, they could be considered op-ed pieces, not reporting.
The reviews. In a way.
And there are reviews. Reviews are op-ed pieces, basically.
Yeah.
So, doesn't mean I'm a journalist. Just means I'm someone who's very opinionated.
That's true. You are someone who's very opinionated.
But isn't every journalist?
No.
They're supposed to be unbiased.
Actually, no. They're supposed to be unbiased.
Unbiased.
I don't know that that's true
not
either.
Unbiased.
They're supposed to be. It just doesn't happen.
I think the very concept of being unbiased is difficult to achieve.
Yes,
it's virtually impossible.
But it happens. It's what they're supposed to be.
But
because
it
they're supposed to
happens?
give. Yeah, it's...
It doesn't happen. You attempt to get as close to unbiased as possible, but even language, human morality, all of these things are constructs that we've created rather than the absolute truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyone who claims to be unbiased is a liar. So true.
I'm unbiased.
Yeah, but you're also a liar.
Absolutely.
I just don't care.
Rad, have we fixed your mic problem?
Check 1 2. Rock
Yes.
the mic.
Yes.
Check. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what happened.
You're like a second and a half behind us, but yeah.
That's weird. Yeah. There's some. I could see it in my video too. Like there's some weird stuff happening. I don't know what's going on.
Got that Texas
I'm
fever.
Raddosaurus. Hopefully you can still hear me. I had a pretty usual week, I guess. We're car shopping currently because if you were here last week, you knew that my wife crashed her car. It was in fact totaled out, so we have to buy a new car, which kind of sucks because we were pretty cool with not having a car payment, and now we do again, or now we will again, which that kind of sucks. So I will be picking up some sort of part-time work. Right now I'm looking at teaching Chinese children how to speak English at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'll be going back to teaching, but not back into the classroom. I'll be doing it from home. in my underwear from the waist down, and in like proper teacher attire from the waist up. So I will be
Listen,
sounds about right.
as
Yeah.
a streamer, I can't even begin to tell you how many fucking problems this is going to cause for you, buddy. Just don't even risk it. Just
Okay.
don't.
But yeah, so
Wear shorts.
I'll probably be doing that, and if I do that 4 or 5 days a week, I can probably scoop up an extra $1,000 a month. So that will easily pay my car payment bill, and maybe even a day or two of daycare where I can just straight up like substitute teach for 2 days a week to make even more money. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided yet for sure, but gonna make some extra money. Other than that, I may or may not be the proud owner of a minivan here in the next few weeks. We'll see. I'm leaving it to my wife to decide. It's going to be her daily driver, so she gets to pick. We're torn between spending every penny we got to get a third row seat vehicle, or being frugal and buying like an economy Subaru or something like that. So I'm a frugal person, so I'm kind of voting Subaru, but we'll see. My wife's we're polar opposites when it comes to virtually everything. So she gets. I got the truck. I got the truck I wanted to get when I got a new car, so she can have whatever she wants as long as it's within the budget. Other than that, I saw Black Panther. It's really good. I don't know that this is as amazing, balls to the wall, best movie ever. Like a lot of people are saying, I probably would not put it that high. I'm sure Arthur's going to want to talk about it some too. But it was really good. It's totally worth your money. You should definitely go see it. This is a really good movie for sure, no doubt. Other than that, nothing crazy, I don't think. So I'll pass it on to the next person.
I mean, I'll step in to talk about Black Panther.
Okay, let's talk about Black Panther.
They finally brushed up their villain game.
Yes, and the villain game has been getting stronger and stronger.
True.
I feel like the biggest heroes that the Marvel you had to start with has some of the weakest villains. Like Iron Man does not have a strong like villain roster. Captain America.
I liked Iron Man 3's initial fake villain though.
Yes,
it was so good.
The Mandarin is awesome, but they ruined him in that movie.
I mean,
yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Kind of, but also just who is it? Ben Kingsley just being like,
yeah.
I am a teacher. I was like, holy shit, this guy is just fucking nailing it.
Baptist, like, yes, it was excellent. Captain America, other than the Red Skull, which is kind of like a one-off villain, Captain America doesn't really have any cool villains either.
Whoa, Winter Soldier is a great villain.
Yeah, okay. If you count Winter Soldier, then yes, I would put him like as a top tier villain. Now, of course, he becomes a hero. But his run as a villain definitely makes him like a top tier villain for sure, because he's dynamic, he's got a story, like all that kind of stuff.
I love the chats like mass market movies avoid compelling villains, and yet the best villains lately have been from Spider-Man: Homecoming and Black Panther,
for sure.
Where out of the 3 villains, all 3 of them are completely compelling.
Yes, definitely. I easily put I put Killmonger the villain in the top 3 of Marvel villains for sure.
I would put him in number 2, fairly solid.
I would put him just behind the Vulture. I think we would probably agree.
Vulture's number 1.
About the Bucky Barnes and Captain America in the comics.
No, don't fucking in the comics, me. This is like the Star Wars expanded universe.
But in the comics,
where Luke Skywalker marries a space battleship.
Cap dies and Bucky replaces him as Captain America.
Yeah, but then I'm sure Captain America comes back to life, or is from an alternate universe, or
many times,
Earth 21-7, or
he's died and not died as much as
I understand that there's a universe that's made up of just all of the Thors from all the other universes that died.
Yeah,
and so the police force is just full of Thors, and is led by a frog that's also Thor.
Yes, I know. I actually know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought it was really good. I actually thought something about Black Panther I thought was cool was the guy who plays T'Challa. What's his name? Chadwick something.
You got me.
Anyway, but he's great. He's fantastic. Brilliant casting. But But then even beyond that, his supporting cast, I feel like outshone him like most of the movie.
Absolutely.
Like his sister was dynamite. The princess was amazing. The general, Michonne from Walking Dead, right? Same
Yeah,
actress,
I know.
don't know her name either.
I'm not
She
going to
was
agree with you with the
amazing.
sister, but the general was pretty good casting.
The general was amazing. The love interest, the ex-girlfriend was amazing. Like Claw, my God. We need
Martin
to stop.
Freeman was super weak, by the way.
He was.
I fucking
yes.
hated his performance.
Claw was we
Claw,
need to stop.
listen,
We need to stop putting motion capture on Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis
in movies because he's fucking great.
His South African accent always gets me. I've tried for years to capture a South African accent, and he blows it away in all the Marvel movies.
Andy Serkis, because the dude's brilliant. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, the guy who played Killmonger was also really good.
They couldn't.
You know, Forrest Whitaker played Forrest Whitaker. I'm pretty sure that's the only part he could play in any movie ever.
Yeah. That's the only part anyone ever wants to see.
It's the same problem with Jeff Goldblum, right? Like Jeff Goldblum is just Jeff Goldblum in every single movie. So it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just that's just how it is.
That reminds me, the Black Panther trailers for the next crop of movies were all fucking horrible.
I don't even remember any of the trailers, man. They were bad.
New Jurassic Park.
Okay, I'll go see it because I'm a dinosaur nut. But yeah,
I'm not.
I don't think it's going to be an amazing movie or anything.
I'll go see it because it's got Chris Pratt, but
yeah.
That's about like I'll probably just fall asleep during all the scenes that don't have Chris Pratt.
I liked Jurassic World. I know most people didn't, but I did.
I did to some extent, but there was some weird shit like running around in high heels for the entire movie.
If it has dragons or dinosaurs, I have or giant monsters, I have a very low bar for like can I be entertained or not? Like I will like almost any trash as long as
I feel like you just described Pacific Rim there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Dinosaur monster dragons.
Yeah.
Trash.
Oh my god.
Very low bar.
The trailer for the new Pacific Rim.
They're getting better. I was a little iffy on the first trailer that I saw, but now the last couple I've seen, I've been like, okay, again, very low bar. But
it's like they don't even try with that movie though. With those movies,
they don't have to.
Here's this giant robot fighting a giant creature. Go play, have fun.
I'm all in on Pacific Rim. The first one, the acting was just such trash in it. It was so bad.
It was so horrible.
But I didn't care. I was like, all right, it's fine. I'll go see it anyway. It's got giant robots fighting giant monsters.
And you know, I'm gonna take a chance to just fucking nail Solo to a wall here. That movie. Every time I see the new trailer, I'm less interested in watching it. Every new piece of news, I'm just like, this movie's gonna be a fucking disaster.
Me too. Did you see the one that I don't know? Was it on your channel? Kelso posted the one that was to Beastie Boys music.
Yeah, where they recut it with Sabotage.
It made it look a lot better. I mean, definitely made it look a lot better.
I mean, you could recut anything to Beastie Boys Sabotage and make it better. That was the whole point of the last Star Trek movie.
But yeah, I'm not. I mean, I'll go see it obviously because I'm a sucker and I can't make.
I want to see the Star Destroyer flying through the storm. That's it. That's the whole movie for me now.
But I don't know. There are so many other Star Wars side stories. I would rather see a Star Wars because, like Han Solo, again, I probably sound like a dork or whatever, but I feel like there's sacred ground, and I think some of the stuff that like Lucas did, that he was really good at, is he would be like, the fucking Kessel Run, and then they never talked about it again in a single movie, right? Like you were just left to go like, oh, there was
with the idea that there's a Kessel Run,
there's this mythical thing that like this ship is really awesome, and we don't have to color inside the lines or connect the dots or be told the story.
Yeah, but it's a new generation, Rad. People are thirsty for canon.
That's my major complaint with the new Star Wars movies is they're basically taking the old canon and doing whatever they can to just piss all over it.
Well, that's fine. There's a bunch of shit.
Told, right?
We've done this a million times. We don't need to cover that old Star Wars canon was occasionally fucking horrible.
I don't know. You may have lost me. My camera seems to be frozen up. But
nope, we've got you.
Okay, all right. I don't need Han Solo's backstory, right? Like I just need him to be like the mysterious rogue that he is, and like I just want to make it up myself. I don't want it all. I don't want to see the Kessel Run and how he met Chewbacca and how he met Landos, how he got the Falcon. Like I don't want it.
I mean, I would see a Lando movie at this point. I want to see how he ends up owning a fucking giant space gas refinery.
I guess that's what I'm getting at. Is I would rather see a completely original story, even about new original characters that I've never even met before, than go back and try and draw me a timeline of how Han Solo became Han Solo. Like it's
like the Star Wars galaxy is so expansive, and there's so much you can do. Why do they have to concentrate on doing stuff with the old characters that they don't even need to do, and that a lot of people, quite frankly, don't even want?
That's why even though Rian Johnson has been probably the most controversial Star Wars director, I'm glad that we're getting news, like director aside, like whoever it is, right? It doesn't matter.
Not Rian Johnson.
That there are going to be other trilogies that are not connected to like the saga trilogy, and my hope and dreams are just that they are original stories about new characters and new stories that take place in this setting, but are separate from like everything else that we've seen or met so far. Like, give me new stuff. Give me,
sure. I agree with that.
Use this very rich tapestry of a background that we have, and make me amazing. Make me amazing movies that don't have anything to do with what I already know.
Just one
I
thing.
want to see a Star Wars movie of a freaking Jawa Jedi.
I mean, I don't know if I'm on board with that.
There was one in the expanded universe.
I mean, there was a droid Jedi.
Yeah,
Skippy or
Skippy. Yeah. Don't forget Luke and Luke Skywalker. Listen, the extended canon was fucking horrible in Star Wars.
Not all of it is horrible. You keep on painting it with such a wide brush. Some of it was.
Listen, I'm not. My job here isn't to tell you 100% of the expanded universe was terrible. My job is to point out that like 80% of it was just fucking garbage, and you're remembering the good parts.
Yeah.
It's like everyone who's a Thrawn fanboy. I'm like, wait, did we read the same books? This is the guy that looks at a piece of art and then broadly paints an entire race.
I don't know. You always get hung up on things that I don't get hung up on, Arthur. I'm not saying you're wrong.
True.
We just have very different measuring sticks when it comes to the quality of movies.
Chad's saying it. We need a Race Squadron movie. That's what we need.
Yeah. Oh no.
Then we could do Race Squadron. No, this is brilliant. Sure. We do Race Squadron. Then we do the Rogue Squadron prequels, where you're like, oh, you want to know more about Wedge Antilles? Let's see young Wedge Antilles after the Death Star. And then they're like, oh shit, you like that? Let's do iJedi, because fucking Corran Horn shows up. And then you're like, wow, look, we just made 9 movies. We made $1 billion on each of them.
Yeah. And you didn't have to piss on anything.
No one's mad. We get to play young Han Solo again as a general. Princess Leia shows up occasionally. You get Warlord Zinj at his finest moments and not the shitty ones.
Yeah, but I just think there's so much out there that could be done. I know we got way parallel to Black Panther, but to bring us back on track, Black Panther was a really good story. You should definitely check it out. I thought that there were parts of it that were very paint by numbers superhero movie, right? Like I was not impressed with like the final battle. Didn't think it was great.
I mean, that's just a Marvel thing, right?
Yes.
Every Marvel movie comes down to 2 heroes with opposing ideologies punching each other.
We're on number 18 at this point, so like there's
the only one that escapes that is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
If only because Tony Stark and our young heroes switch villains.
Yes. So yeah, the third act lost me a little bit, and not in that I thought it was bad. It just I don't think it. We've had such a string of Marvel movies lately that were such like it's very apples and oranges. But things like Thor Ragnarok and Guardians of the Galaxy 2 come to mind, right? Which is they were not like deep movies, but they were like super fun roller coaster rides from start to finish. Like there were no slow parts. It was boom, 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 boom. Everything happened real quick. And it was funny. And for this movie, for Black Panther, they toned the humor down, like way down from the last several entries. I feel like it's a much more like James Bondy, like smooth.
I mean, they were going for James Bondy when they were literally like, for sure, what's up, right? Princess Q?
Yeah, they had a Q, exactly. But I liked it. It was good. It's definitely, I feel like it goes backwards a little bit and picking up on like an older model of Marvel movie, right? Like it changes its pacing back to a little bit more of like a prime hero. This is not a comedy or goofy movie. It takes itself a little bit more seriously, I guess, maybe is what I'm trying to say, than a couple of the previous entries in the Marvel universe, which is not a bad thing, but it's just different. So there were parts of it that felt slower in comparison to some of the more recent Marvel movies, I felt like. But again, not in a bad way. It may sound like I'm being critical. I'm not a racist. Okay, I could be critical of a movie.
No, that's not possible. If you're critical of the movie, you're automatically a racist.
Dude, people are losing their minds over this movie, and I don't want to get into that, but it's just been crazy.
I love the White Panther meme that's going around because I didn't see it until after I saw the movie, but the first thing I thought of when I saw Wakanda was like, oh, it's exactly like Valhalla, but with trees instead of gold.
I thought that, yeah. I thought the idyllic, like future Africa, was amazing. The movie visually is stunning. It's a very, very, very good look. All the people who did the costuming, like all of the city stuff, and all of that was the visual, very beautiful movie.
Not this thing. This is fucking horrifying. Like,
what was that?
The giant fucking lip plates or whatever.
Oh, yes.
Listen, I'm behind everything else in that movie, but please don't make that popular. Never make that popular.
I'm sure that's like steeped in tradition, but it just was not a visual for me and my personal culture. But I'm sure someone appreciated it.
Painful to look at.
Yeah, we didn't see a lot of like the neck stretching or stuff like that. So I thought that was like a relatively tame African thing to do. So it could have been probably way crazier. There probably would have been a lot of more nudity in the movie if they had done much more like traditional African stuff. So I don't know. I liked it. It was really good. You should go see it. I don't think it's best ever. It doesn't make my top 5 Marvel movies. But it probably comes close. It's in the top quarter for sure. But it's probably not in my top 5.
You're obviously a racist then.
Clearly,
when there's so many Marvel movies that you can't make it into the top 5, but you're still in the top quarter.
Yeah, no, it's for real. There's 18 Marvel movies, and I think, what would you say? Maybe a quarter of them are just like bad, but then the rest are all like good, from good to like great. I would say.
Sure, I would put Ant-Man right at the bottom.
Of course you would. Most people do actually. I understand that I'm in the minority for liking Ant-Man. I get it.
No, I like Ant-Man. Ant-Man was good.
Good. See me.
We can jump over to Pondo. Pondo, let's do some intros. It's rare for you to jump in during intros to say things, so I'm super excited.
That's all I had. I've just been.
You just wanted to say you liked Ant-Man. Well, we got you out of your shell for long enough to be wrong.
Sure, Arthur. Whatever you say, buddy.
What's going on for you this week?
Nothing much. Quite honestly, I haven't really. It's been a lazy week. This is the only thing I've done so far.
That's rough.
It's all right. No, I've been doing all right. I've been meaning to go do something. I just haven't done it. It's been lazy.
I turned a fan on. Let me know if it's loud.
Yeah, it's loud.
Oh, fuck.
I was wondering what the noise was before he said anything.
I'll just fucking sweat for the next 4 hours. Then it's fine.
Great. Perfect.
I already have that thing where like
that's true. All right, I'm gonna agree with Chad. Probably Thor 2 is the worst Marvel movie by far.
Yeah.
I just kind of pretend it didn't happen because the only canon thing that came out of it was Loki replacing Odin, and that's about it.
Actually, that might be the only Marvel movie I've never seen is Thor 2. I've seen like
I haven't seen a lot of
the
them.
last like 20 minutes. And I wasn't never like, I'm gonna go back and watch this.
It was really disappointing
because I was very underwhelmed with the first one. I was kind of like, all right, I'm checking out a Thor. Like, not into it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Thor's not super great, but it set kind of a precedent.
I think he's a good side character, kind of like how Hulk is a really amazing side character. Thor was fucking incredible in Avengers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he's a good ensemble.
It's not a side character. It's literally a main character.
No, okay, ensemble character. Do you like that term better?
No, I don't. He's also the focus of Thor Ragnarok.
I don't think he carries his own movie that well. Even in Ragnarok, you got to throw a Hulk in. Like you got to have more going on than just Thor.
You didn't have to throw a Hulk in. It just was really nice because He
they're
doesn't
giving
have
him
his own
credit.
movie. He still doesn't
They're
have his
giving him
own
too much
movie after
credit.
all this time.
Oh,
So-
Hulk.
Hulk
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Universal.
no,
The Hulk has had 2 movies
He has.
and a TV series.
Not
Also
a
true.
canon Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Technically,
Listen.
the Norton
My
movie
only
is.
problem I had
Edward
with
Norton movie.
Thor Ragnarok was the fact that they tied in two different movie concepts.
I don't think the Edward Norton Hulk is canon.
I could be wrong, but I think.
Yeah,
it is.
there's no way because Iron Man was first. Wow, actually, you're right. They list Incredible Hulk as being, well,
The problem with it is, well, one, they changed actors, so that made it feel like it didn't count right. But also,
sure, but they did that shit in Iron Man 2, and it was amazing.
Also, Incredible Hulk sucked.
Hulk is a
Bad movie.
the problem with the Hulk is
Incredible Hulk
the
movie
distribution of Hulk is still owned by Universal. Hulk is one of those ones that's like he's in a weird like in between to where Marvel has to jump through hoops to make a standalone Hulk movie. There are other studios that have to get involved and get a piece of that pie, which is one of the reasons why they put him in a Thor movie. Also because Thor is too weak to carry his own movie, but that was in addition.
I
to,
mean, that's your opinion, man.
it is. I mean, I'm ready for just a movie about Korg and Meek at this point. Like, where's that movie? Give me that movie.
Do you know? Here's something funny. The movie, if the movie was to happen with for Hulk, it would have happened during Ragnarok because there's an incident called World War Hulk. Where
Yeah,
Hulk
no,
gets
World War Hulk is terrible.
No, it's not. It's one of Hulk's only good comic series. Is World War Hulk.
No.
Did you read
Yeah.
the comic?
There
You
is
just
an
watched the cartoon.
animated movie of that, and I absolutely love it. It's
The
where
animated
Hulk
movie's okay.
actually appear, and instead of Thor showing up, it's Beta Ray Billy, but
Yeah,
that's
Beta
a
Ray
whole new character to show up.
World War Hulk is one of Hulk's best comic runs, and the Thor Ragnarok that comes after Thor Civil War is also one of his best comics as well. It's
Yeah,
really cool. He goes through, he like cuts his eyes out. It has like the whole Odin things and gets like ravens. Like it's really
Look
really
at these
good.
motherfuckers. They're all like, let's talk about the comics. And I'm like, let's not.
Arthur just not on board with that.
Not a
He
comic
doesn't
fan.
want you to
No,
know.
because in the timeline duration, Ragnarok happens during Civil War.
That's why Thor basically isn't in
Isn't-
Civil War.
That's why
is
Thor
because
isn't in
that's
it,
one of
because
them.
it's
No, that's not true. Canon wise, Thor is on Earth during Civil War. He's with a guy named Dave, and they're roommates.
actually,
You've seen those little short skits? No, you haven't seen those? Those are canon.
Those shorts are hilarious. Those shorts under
They're canon as fuck. He's just like, my good friend Tony Stark, billionaire. And he's like, you don't have to call him my good friend Tony Stark, billionaire. I know who Tony Stark is.
That's just hilarious. But yeah,
In the comics.
in the comics, the storyline, Thor isn't on Earth whatsoever. He's doing Ragnarok.
Yeah, people are always trying to get me to read manga, and I'm like, I can't. I literally
I
can't.
agree.
Like, I've grown up reading comic books my entire life, and I cannot read one backwards. Like, it fucking gives
That's
me a
your
headache.
reason? It's
Yes, I
not
can't.
because. All right, let me tell you why manga's terrible. The
digital
majority of manga
manga.
is shit.
Okay, well, I'll never know because I've tried. I get through like 2 pages, and I'm like, I feel nauseous.
The only
to
mangas
read
worth
one
reading
scroll.
are ones that have been made into animes, and then the series ends before they're through all the mangas, and I'm like, well, now I want to know what the fuck happens.
And people are like, just keep doing it. You'll get used to it. I'm like, what the fuck? What kind of philosophy is that? Keep doing
Now,
something that you hate till you like
with
it. No, I'll just not do it. It's fine.
I don't buy.
Aren't you in the army?
I don't get
Well,
So
physical.
isn't that like the way you think about regular jobs anyway?
Yeah.
Nobody pays me money to read manga. People pay me money.
And I just sit there, just laying back, just enjoying all of this conversation. Not
My
trying-
nerddom, my comic nerddom goes several layers deeper than the movies. So I'm sure we don't want to get into that. That's a whole
Yeah,
thing.
no. With mangas, I don't buy physical copies. I get digital copies and convert them to be regular, the left to right read.
I'll tell you a
Pages.
manga that I want to read. All right. I started watching the show named Saikano this morning. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. I'm only 3 episodes in. It's fucking brilliant. It's the only harem anime I've ever seen where I'm excited to watch it. Because the majority of harem anime is fucking awful. And by the majority, I mean everything but this one. But it's written by a visual novel artist. And in order to celebrate the visual novel genre, there are 3 mangas of the same storyline, but each one ends with a different heroine. So who he gets with depends on which manga you read. And almost all of the seeds in the first couple volumes are exactly the same, but people keep buying them. It's brilliant. It's a brilliant, shitty scam, and it's so good. All right. English, let's do your intro. Chat is getting thirsty for Battletech at this point. They're fucking losing it. Let's do your intro. Chat is getting... Oh my god, we're looping! Who's doing this? Is it Rad? Is it Rad's fault?
Hello, everyone. I'm Englishmudkip, and my week's been pretty good, except for me having to ride 4 miles on a bike and killing my legs. But yeah,
You got to build up to that. You really do.
I've been having a pretty good week. Still job searching, and I might be going on to a certain course, which is beekeeping. Surprisingly enough.
Oh, cool! I've always been interested in becoming an amateur apiarist.
Yeah,
I have some stories about beekeeping.
Oh yeah.
I have to keep a mint plant in my room because wasps try and build a nest in my room every summer.
Yeah, you have to let me know how that goes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure. That's if I get onto the course, that is. I haven't heard back from the connection. Yeah, but yeah, I've had a pretty good week. I've been playing Monster Hunter a lot. Fuck Diablos. That's all I'm going to say about Monster Hunter right now. Fuck Diablos. And the hitbox. Yeah,
Okay.
that's me. Diablos is one of the monsters, and its hitbox is fucking massive over top of it. And every time it attacks, because the weapon I use, I can launch myself over monsters, I still get hit halfway through its body. I'm like, screw you and your massive hitbox that shouldn't be that big.
Sounds like Dark Souls.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I'm mid-roll, and I should have freaking use frames, the iframes, and I still get hit by an attack that's not even supposed to hit me where it's supposed to hit me.
Well, the game's going to have its bugs and glitches. It's still pretty new.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so...
But Chad is 100% behind this bee discussion right now. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what's happening. They were like, fuck Marvel, fuck Star Wars. When are you guys going to get started? And then someone's like, by the way, I'm learning to become a beekeeper. And everybody's like, bees, huh? Get me into that fucking bee discussion.
Let
me tell you about the disappearing North American honeybee population.
I will agree with Max right here. Fuck BL's Blazer Girls. Because that fucker just appears out of nowhere like a bombard, like a freaking bomber plane. And I'm not joking, he just flies over dropping freaking bomb pods on you. It's a pain in the ass.
You should probably dodge those.
Yeah, but he comes out of nowhere while you're fighting another monster, though.
That's okay. You just had to press Z, then R twice in order to deflect bombs.
Yeah.
I'm using a fucking PlayStation controller here. It's not
Yeah.
on
You
computer.
don't have the special Z button?
There's no Z button. God damn it is.
You just go
You should probably
to
map one.
install, uninstall programs, and you click uninstall, and you'll never be hit by one again.
Yeah, no. I'm going to be buying I like Monster Hunter still, but I am going to be buying it once it comes on PC.
I've been playing this cool new game
So you're going to
called.
buy a game twice?
Yes.
Listen, Sid, you motherfucker, you literally buy shit only for PC. You can't even approach this discussion.
Because
You're out. You're fucking out.
You lose,
I
sir.
can't play
Good
with
day.
everyone I want to play because some people are playing on Xbox and some people are playing on PlayStation. When the PC version comes out, all my group can play together.
I mean,
to be honest, people have done it for Destiny as well.
Yeah, I
They've
had
had
Destiny on Xbox and on PlayStation, and then I got max level characters with max light on both. And then I stopped playing because it wasn't that fun.
You should do like I do and
It
just go
hurts
down
my
to
soul.
the local old folks home and play checkers with the old people. It's free. It's free.
Wow.
Just don't play bingo with them. They take that seriously.
No,
Yeah,
man.
they do.
That's-
Holy
yeah,
shit.
I asked you.
My God.
Chess, maybe not.
You will
checkers,
get
yes.
all the death stares if you say bingo.
If you play
No
chess,
kidding.
if you play chess with them, you win them almost all the time because they forget what they were doing, like in between every turn. So you
What you do is
Oh,
that you
no
wait for they're
cohesive strategy.
distracted. You wait for they're distracted by someone else to quickly shift something else as well.
yeah,
He-
that,
my
I mean, if you're
granddad,
a dirty cheater, then yes.
my granddad, even with his Alzheimer's, could still kick my ass 7 ways to Sunday on chess.
Sometimes.
It's weird what they remember sometimes.
Oh god, yeah, he just kicked my ass. He
Ready to
kicked
go?
everyone's ass on chess. Yes.
I want to see if we get fired.
Wow, Pondo.
I'm trying.
Calm down, Pondo. Calm down. There's still intros to do. I didn't get to do
Okay.
mine.
Arthur, how's your week?
No, we'll pass ahead. I've been complaining about my week pretty much every show. It's been terrible. Today's finally been the first day that I haven't hated everything. So we start with this episode with the first lieutenant Maxwell Harridan, sitting in the interrogation room. In the lower right-hand corner, there's a red dot that says recording. And we hear someone pull a chair out and then sit down and say, First Lieutenant, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, October the 24th, and I'm Dr. Fried Selzen. This is your psychological evaluation. Do you consent to being recorded?
I'm curious if anyone ever actually says no to that.
They do, but there are some very strict findings that will be handed off to your commanding officer, since it was at your unit's own insistence that I come here.
Well, then obviously the answer would be yes.
Thank you, First Lieutenant. Now, I've had some questions for you and your unit here. Now, you are a Mechwarrior by trade.
Indeed.
And you enjoy killing, then?
I do not.
Have you killed anyone in the line of duty?
Yes, many times.
And what would you say to the incident where... so what happens is the camera, like, goes out of the camera frame box, and what the audience is seeing is an over-the-shoulder shot of the doctor, and it passes behind the doctor, and when it comes out the other side, it's Heavy Seven sitting in the chair. What would you say, warrant officer, if I were to ask you about the incident that happened in this very room, where a prisoner died under your care?
Well, you see, we followed standard operating procedure. When that prisoner attempted to overpower and escape his captivity, we used non-lethal implements to try and subdue him. But due to unforeseen circumstances regarding the ship's ventilation systems at the time, it unfortunately turned out to be fatal.
This wasn't the first time you'd gassed that man, was it?
Well, no, that's correct. He was gassed on a day during training, but as were all of his companions. It hardly could be...
Would you say you have a personal vendetta against this man?
I would say it would be accurate that I did at one time, but...
well, he's dead now, so...
That was settled weeks ago, or weeks prior to his death. So at the time of his death, no, I would say that I had no feelings one way or the other towards the man.
So... the camera begins shifting back across the doctor, and when it gets to the other side, it's Bandito in the chair. So, speaking of your feelings, Staff Sergeant Gray, there are several complaints of sexual harassment from members of the male and female staff of your unit against you.
What?
Do you have any commentary on this particular regard?
What?
How many of them are Russian?
This is like the first I've heard of this.
Staff Sergeant, obviously, I would like the complainant to remain anonymous, but there's been reports that you've been stalking a member of your unit and will go nowhere without them.
Yeah, we know.
Staff Sergeant, do you need a moment?
Now, the reason why that is that way is most to make sure I don't do something stupid, because the XO believes I'm going to do something stupid.
So the XO assigned this person to
On occasion, yes.
follow. You're supposed to follow them around.
No, they usually tag along with me.
I see. So
Also-
that's what you believe then.
Also, if it's who I'm thinking about, it's because I'm also under her. I'm her assistant essentially in her job. If it's who I'm thinking about, it's probably not. I'm pretty sure it's who I'm thinking about.
So you believe it's okay to stalk your superiors. Understood.
No, okay.
The camera begins shifting over again, and it's Goldstag in the chair. Doctor?
Doctor.
I see there's several reports here that you are a member of several street gangs. Let's say. There was an incident with a bar and the local mafia?
I don't seem to recall about that incident. And this allegation of me being members of said criminal organizations, I may be affiliated with ex-members of such.
Doctor, are you aware of what a pathological liar is?
Yes, I have 2 in my family.
I see.
I have had to deal with pathological liars quite a bit. But no, I am not part of any criminal organization.
The camera shifts over again. Harridan's back in the chair. Your unit has an unusual bloodthirsty streak, Lieutenant. My understanding is that, in most cases, Mechwarriors attempt to keep other pilots alive, but you have a 100% kill rate in the field.
That's mostly not deliberate. It's an unfortunate side effect of ammunition explosions.
So he shuffles some papers and he's like, and all of the times that your unit has boiled men alive in rivers, were
Those were deliberate.
I see. I don't think I have any further questions here for you, First Lieutenant. You're dismissed.
Thank you, sir.
And then it shows Bandito coming in to sit down, but the camera switches over and it's McGurk in the chair again. Warrant officer?
Yes, Doctor.
It seems you've killed quite a few people in the line of duty recently.
Well, I wouldn't say just recently. I've been an infantryman for most of my life. So,
Indeed.
Death in the line of duty and threat of death in the line of duty has been my occupation for the better part of my lifetime.
It's such a unique perspective, though. Most Mechwarriors find themselves above the battlefield. They consider themselves almost knights, which is why it's curious that you have the highest kill rate for pilots in your unit.
Why is that curious?
You're something of a bloodthirsty pirate.
That's offensive. Wow, what makes you say that?
Let's follow another topic.
As a combatant, I've killed other combatants. That makes me anything other than a professional combatant.
I'm not here to discuss your competency as a professional combatant, warrant officer.
No, but my status as a bloodthirsty pirate That's a heavy-handed observation.
So
Perhaps you could
he
explain that to me.
begins pushing over a chart, and on it are dates, and he's like, "There's some corroborating evidence here."
Of
And then he has a list of staff complaints against you, anonymous staff complaints, and he's just like,
what's the problem?
"It seems as if your unit believes that you're a man completely driven by revenge, even petty tricks, but sometimes rather terrifying ones as well."
Can I look at the complaints?
Yeah,
what do they specifically list? Any particular cases?
Yeah. The first week where you were hazing the infantrymen, but all the times where you've been ordered to do something and you force the entire unit to do it with you.
Okay.
Gas grenading Drake in the face twice until he died.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't see a problem with any of the things you're showing me here. I don't know what your experience is with military training, or if you have a military background, or
I'm afraid I don't.
And that's fine. But nothing that I have ever inflicted upon anyone else has been for anything other than training purposes, or mission ordered combatives. I've been doing this a long time, and even now, the training that I put my men through is not nearly as severe as the training I was put through as a beginning infantryman. Times have changed, and people are soft, so I tone it way down for these youngsters. Okay, I'll have you know.
He makes a note on his clipboard, and then the camera cuts over to Bandito again.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding, Staff Sergeant, is that you've taken another pilot under your wing.
Yes, sir.
What can you tell me about your relationship with this Mr. Crossroads?
Well, he's just a kid that can use some guidance. That seems to have been brought up obviously the wrong way, since was a pirate and is now no longer a pirate. And it seems like the people who are supposed to be telling this kid what to do is not telling this kid what to do. Initially, I was going to see what was going on with that, but then I'm here.
Time works in mysterious ways, Staff Sergeant.
It does.
I think the last scene we see is just Dr. Goldhirsch and Dr. Selzen staring at each other. This is the first time we've seen Dr. Selzen. He's like a color-swapped version of Goldstag, with black hair and brown eyes, but looks almost exactly like him, and then just stands up and says, "Doctor, I believe I've finished my evaluation."
It was nice speaking to you, Doctor. I hope you find everything nice and have a nice day. I reach out to shake his hand.
He shakes your hand as well, and then turns off the video recorder. I felt like that was a nice recap, because we're entering our third arc of play. We're entering the Invasion of the Clans arc.
Oh, God.
And for some reason, all of you guys really, really wanted to do psychological evaluations.
That was mostly me.
That was just rad. I was just saying that it could end up bad.
Arthur was like, "Is there anything y'all want to do before the third arc?" I'm like, "Psych evals, everybody."
I was just stating we would, if we had passed our first psych evals, we wouldn't have the job.
No, mostly I wanted the new guy to get his eval. And
yeah,
of course,
no, but I felt like it'd be good to do
everybody was, right?
recaps through the.
I think that was really clever.
See how much of a psychopath we actually are.
I thought it was
really cool.
No, I like it. It's good.
and I thought it was Bandito with the highest kill count.
He's got the highest mech kill count, but Heavy 7 has the highest pilot kill count.
I've killed 3 pilots.
He's killed 2 people just in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ejected pilots
Yeah.
that he just sniped.
He's
off.
fucking savage. Rad just like, listen, it's a legitimate target of war, okay?
I think I've killed those 2 people. I killed at least one other dude just on the ground, and I killed 2 mechs. So that's 5 dudes.
People, they're bonus XP.
Yeah, exactly. I need
So
my
what you're
However many
explaining to
people-
the counselor?
Yeah.
Plus, it was however many people were in the vehicles that I killed.
All right. We don't have to have a
It's
dick
the
measuring contest.
25 and 26.
Apparently we are.
That's important.
Anytime anybody's like, I've got this many, you're like, I've got more.
Okay.
You
I
just-
wanted to give
It's
you
the only
guys
thing I'm good for here.
I want to give you guys a chance to set 1 or 2 scenes in between the end of July and the beginning of the new year.
So these are our last days on planet.
This is your last days on Hood 4. In the new year, you're going to be taking off to go find a new job on another planet.
Lovely.
So we don't have any mech simulators in our dropship. Is
You
there
do
any
not.
way to run simulations within our cockpits?
There is, but they're not very good.
Okay, can we get another day at Pizza Planet with the Barons
Yes.
people doing? All right, we should do that again then. Just notionally, not like for.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, do you send the invite out?
Yeah, we invite all those. I invite all of those snake guys out for beer and pizza again, followed by some more simulator time.
Excellent. They're 100% behind it. And the
We-
Baron
we
will
try-
cover the costs.
We try more like new tactics from our playbook, right? Like our mass jump tactic and our like our
Mhm.
our 2 mechs staying together on the flank and thing. Like we which we try and improve. with
I'm
our new
curious. Could you make a tactics roll real quick?
Me?
No. Your
Okay.
commanding officer.
Let me find my tactics. Let me find my character.
I think it would be
sheet.
called Tactics Land.
Isn't it like? Don't you have like a neutral?
No.
Because
I can safely say
Oh,
That-
yeah, it is neutral.
all week people have been trying to guess the correct clan that they're going to end up fighting, and no one has been correct
Oh.
so far.
I have
Wow.
a tactics +1.
Wow. You have a 10? Is that what you ended up getting?
No, I'm flat, so that's a 9.
All right, a 9. So it takes 4 tries, but you guys finally end up winning with the
Cool.
strategy of like starfishing around them and forcing them to like constantly turn. And there's a point in the combat where each of you has a back shot on one of them, and you just start taking down like riflemen, awesome, the Black Knight, all with back shots. And you know, Team Snake is pretty disappointed, but also they're glad that the staff has set up some kegs this time around.
Yeah.
No,
The time-
absolutely.
yeah, when we
They
go
finally
buy-
get the
we,
liquor
like, buy
license.
the-
Is that?
Yeah, we buy the place out basically to for the night so that we can eat and drink whatever we want while we're there.
I mean, very graciously thanking them for their time and helping us.
But we just
practice.
pay off the staff to not talk about it. Like whoever the night
Yeah.
manager is, like just fucking. This is what we're gonna do. Here's
So-
here's 100. Fuck off. Here, take your $double. So
The $double. That's their local. That's their like virtual
Researcher.
currency or whatever for their particular arcade.
Yeah.
Got that way.
There's like a dude with a giant blonde spiky hair with like a huge trench coat is their mascot.
Yeah.
It's got like a gigantic ass revolver. Death Wish. The Baron at the end of this evening, it comes over to you and is like, "So, Harridan, this is your last chance to speak with me. I was hoping we could talk privately somewhere. Are you
can we
going to
say that
continue?"
I already told him about whatever the Baron told me last time. Okay, all right.
What did the Baron tell you?
He wants you for some fucking Blackwater Lyran shit that he wants you back basically to bring you back into the fold, but you know, Mission Impossible style, so you can be disavowed if you're caught kind of situation.
He wants me to be a scapegoat for him yet again.
Is that you muttering when he's talking to you?
But you know that when he comes up to talk to you, that's what he's going to talk to you about.
Okay, so he walks up to me and he says, "What?"
I was hoping to speak with you before you left.
I'm sure you are. I just stare at him.
Still colder than a Lyran, I see.
Well, one's disposition is not normally sweetened by someone firing PPCs into your cockpit.
Listen, brother, consider the following.
Do
you
not
really
ever
think that-
call me that?
Do you really think that 3 hardened Mechwarriors, veterans of dozens of battles are really going to miss the fact that someone ejected from a mech, even at close range, especially at close range. You really think you got away by accident or luck or extreme skill?
Radiation's a tricky thing. Couldn't say for certain.
Really, that's what you're going with. Harridan, as always, there's more going on than you know. And you're never paying attention when the cards are moving. Well, assuming you can ever get over yourself, I'll see you at the wedding.
That's all you wanted to talk to me about.
Oh, I'd like to talk to you about far, far more, but it would seem that you're rather unobliging.
As I said, it's rather hard to be cordial to someone who deliberately attempted to have you killed and then used as a scapegoat.
I have nothing to say on that particular matter.
Of
Everything
course
about this conversation is as disappointing as I hoped it would not be.
not. If you wish to say something to me, then say it. I make no promises, but my sister sees something in you, so at least treat you like a person for a few moments.
Like a brother, then.
Not even close.
Haven't you found it curious that someone accused of the thing that you did would be allowed to get off planet or live at all? You've encountered Lyran intelligence operatives several times over the last decade. And now you've basically been working for Lyran intelligence twice in a row.
As I'd been led to believe, there were people that did believe my story, but there was no proof that would allow them to be legally convinced otherwise or openly.
I'm hoping to offer you an avenue back into Lyran's service.
What makes you think I would even want such a thing?
So you're saying you don't?
I'm saying I've found a place here. I have a lance. I have friends. Friends that are my family. Far more than you would think you could ever possibly hope to be.
So that's your answer
These
then?
people would not cast me out based on lies and assumptions. The Lyran Alliance did cast me out. Why do you think I would want to go back into the fold after they cast me aside? I'm not some wayward child craving the parents' attention. I do have a life here, one that I was forced to make for myself. To give it all up, to go back to the same people that cast me aside, that does not make sense.
It's very unfortunate. Well, I wish you well, and I'll see you next Christmas then.
Doubtful. I walk off.
All right. Anybody else got a scene they want to put in between those two timelines?
Wanted to talk to the, I guess it's the Lance Commander of the vehicle, Lance?
Yes, and that person is
Big guy.
Rusty Bottoms.
His name is not Rusty Bottoms. That is not a thing.
Brach Bitterballs.
That's
Is anyone's
also not a
character's
thing.
birthday happened during our times?
Staff Sergeant Zane Reiser, who's also
Zane.
your logistics officer.
Okay.
So I think you'll find him working on one of the APC hovercraft. In the background, all the Russian guys are working on their long tom with their shirts off with giant wrenches while Hot Blooded is playing. And he's just like looking at them and shaking his head, and he's just like, bloody pirates.
Staff Sergeant, what was his name again?
Zane Reiser.
Zane Reiser. Okay. I'll have to try to remember it. Staff Sergeant Zane Reiser?
Staff Sergeant Vincent Gray.
Yeah, I have a question about one of your your subordinates and your vehicle, Lance.
So he holds out his left hand for you to shake.
I just shake it.
All right. He's missing the first joint on his pinky.
Okay. So it's like really awkward when he tries like.
Well, I mean, he's giving you a left-handed handshake to start with, so it's probably really awkward.
Okay. I just want that.
Go.
He probably just
Pleasure.
stink bombed you.
Wow.
Knowing Vincent, probably, yeah. Yeah, I was wanting to talk to you about. I'm blanking on all these names. What was the kid's name? Crossroads. Yeah, I was going to talk to you about Crossroads.
Ah,
We don't-
right, Crossroads.
Yeah, apparently he didn't know that he was able to book a room here while we're on port land. And he's just been sitting in his mech, not knowing what he's supposed to do for like 4 days.
So he gives you a look and then turns away, and it's just like, right, I'll speak with him.
Well, why weren't you speaking with him prior when he was actually hired on?
I assumed he had been briefed by the adjutant.
Who's your adjutant?
Blake Howe? Sergeant Blake Howe?
Fucking Hal.
Have I met Hal?
Yes.
I don't think I have.
You watched him punch some dude on TV.
Yes, he's the paralegal.
Oh god.
Oh,
The
Yep.
shit paralegal.
so you trusted on Blake Hal, huh?
He turns towards you like, what the fuck did you just say? And he's like, yes, I do trust the members of my unit to do their jobs.
That's
I know that's tough for you Mechwarriors to
That's
understand.
unfortunate.
that's fine. Thank God. No offense. Well, apparently.
Sup,
just make
Sergeant?
sure-
I have a
yeah.
request for you.
Yeah.
Could you please stop harassing one of my pilots?
Is it Crimson?
Yes.
I'm
I
not.
believe
harassing
you
her.
mean 9 lives.
9 lives. I'm not harassing her. If that's what you're saying.
I got a whole heap of complaints on my desk that say you are.
How? Can I see these complaints?
He's just like, that would be highly inappropriate, Staff Sergeant.
Well, I don't know what to fix, but I don't know what I'm being complained about.
I think you'll need to speak with your commanding officer about that.
God damn. All right.
I
well,
don't
thank you.
recall seeing any complaints.
All right, just as a favor to me, make sure Crossroads is taken care of.
All right.
He'll be very good for your team.
Make a negotiation check.
Shit.
You get a +2 because what you're trying to accomplish is easy. Normally you'd get a higher plus, but he has hatred Mechwarriors -2, so
Oh.
Damn it.
So that's why he does not like any of us.
All right.
I mean
so
that's
I'm
certainly not
falling
the
flat.
only reason he doesn't like any of you.
I haven't done anything to him. It's just he's free.
I have.
What's your bonus?
It's -2, so +2 is
So you have a
equal
0? Okay,
Yep.
you get exactly what you needed to.
8. Sweet.
He puts his hands on his hips and just starts wiping a cloth off on his pants. It's just like, fine, I'll talk to the kid.
Thank you. Just make sure he's, not sitting in the mech for 4 days, stinking up a storm in it while the Baron's trying to. He was complaining a lot about that. But I'm going to go figure out what the complaints were that Crimson put on me. So I'm guessing if I check in with the lieutenant, he is not going to know what she's talking about, unless the complaints actually went to him.
He
I've
just
received-
stares at you. He's just staring at you the whole time.
Oh,
Is that the next
I
scene?
mean-
Is you talking to?
yeah. As I leave, and I'll go.
So all right.
Talk to-
So here's the thing, First Lieutenant Harridan. There's like 15 complaints from 8 different people about how he's been treating 9 lives. And you also get back your psyche vals. You are the only one who passed your psyche val. Every other mech warrior in your unit has been recommended to be taken off duty, and possible criminal charges penned against them.
I don't even get like a deception roll that I can do.
No,
I
you
did go
literally
for
admitted
that.
to just murdering that guy in the room. You were like, yeah, it happened by accident, but it happened.
Yeah. Well, okay, sure.
He was a pirate, so no one cared.
I mean, you did murder that guy.
Oh no, I did. I'd do it again.
There's no man's fault.
When Arthur asks me what scene I want to do, I'm about to tell him about how I murder this
So-
guy.
So that's good to know. So I was mostly
Gas
right.
grenade taped to his mouth.
No, I hired a bunch of
Figured-
street urchins to accost him like in an alleyway, like the sparrows from Game of Thrones.
So I
I can
was
get
right
his
that we.
files and I can figure out who wrote out all those complaints, and I can exact my sweet, sweet revenge on anyone who filed a complaint on me.
You're an HR fucking nightmare.
All right.
Why
So
I?
Aridin has all the stuff. So it's like, yeah. Have you gotten complaints about apparently me harassing 9 lives?
No, this is the first I've heard of it, actually.
Apparently, there's been a lot of complaints that I've not been remotely even told about.
Neither have I. Don't worry, Sergeant. I'll see if I can get to the bottom of this.
Are you saying that while looking at the pile of complaints in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've never seen these before.
Are you lying to me?
No.
He just
Oh,
hasn't
okay.
read them yet, I
You just
guess.
haven't read them?
So, well,
like,
they were
can I
never
see
they were never mentioned to me. So
I feel like he comes in and he's like, "What complaints are you talking
Are
about?"
they
Butch
are they
McGregor's
like on the desk right there?
Oh, and he goes over to the trash can. He's like, "I put them here in the suggestion box," and he pulls a bunch of papers out of the trash can and puts them back on the lieutenant's desk. Like,
So it's like
No.
the papers are like right there in front of me. It's like,
thank you.
what are those?
Thank you, Chief. Don't worry,
Alright.
Sergeant. I'll see if I can get to the bottom of this.
All right.
Goldsag, you got a scene you want to do?
I was just wondering if that any birthdays that happened within the dropship.
If the
Any
what?
birthdays?
Any birthdays?
Yeah, I mean, you've got almost 100 people in the unit. There's like a birthday every 3 days.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of damn cards that have to get signed all the time. It's a gigantic pain in the ass.
No, they just do like they do the once a month birthday thing where they celebrate everybody's birthday on the same day.
Much better.
it's right next to the big clock that's like X number of days since last like stop time like lost incident, and it's always like 2 or 3. It's like,
All right.
So yeah, I would like to speak with 9 Lives.
All right. She's in her closet office. Her hair's frazzled. She's got dark rings under her eyes. She's like, "What? What is it, sir?"
She's a sergeant, right?
Yes.
Sergeant, I was wondering if I could have a moment of your time.
Absolutely, sir. Anything for you.
Seems there have been a lot of complaints flying around about Bandito and his behavior towards you.
It is unusual how he drags me everywhere he goes and expects me to tase him.
I'll admit the tasing part is a little bit out of the ordinary, but you do have to understand that a lot of those instances he was actually under my orders to ask you.
I'm not under your command, sir.
I know, that's why he was under orders to ask you.
I see, sir.
The reason being is because you are not under my command, but you are extremely good at what you do, and you seem to have a knack for keeping Bandito under control. That is the reason for that. If there's anything else out of the ordinary, untoward, you have my personal apologies for it, but
Sir,
I thought you should know that it was
It's-
not of his own accord a lot of those times.
it's not my job to keep him under control, sir. I am not his mother.
No, I'm well aware of that, but you do seem to be rather good at it. So I do appreciate your efforts. But I thought you should know that a lot of those instances, it was not of his volition.
I see. Well, sir, in case you ever want to give me another job, I'm also very good at eating ice cream.
I will see what I can do. Thank you very much for your time, Sergeant.
No, thank you, sir. She just throws you really fake salute. It goes back to work.
Fine.
You patronizing bitch.
The fuck?
Holy shit.
Wow.
And
feel
I'll actually order up some like Uber Eats ice cream
It arrives and McGurk just
with
eats
a
it.
thank
He doesn't know who
you.
it's for.
Thank
He doesn't
you
know who
for
it's for.
dealing.
He just eats it.
God damn.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't really want to. I don't know. I don't know if I have a scene so much as we just get like a Butch McGurkism like montage, right? Like all the shenanigans that he's up to.
Is it set to Benny Hill?
He's like squatted down playing like craps with like dirty street children, like in the gutter somewhere, and then he's like on the beach running with troops, and then he's got them like all in the bay, and he has potted plants set up at like 100-yard intervals. And they're all running to potted plants and like apologizing for stealing all the oxygen that they work so hard to create. And then run to the next plant and do it again. And
Feels like something you've experienced personally.
yes, I've been
Sitting
there.
in a lawn chair holding a glass while they run relay races with different ingredients to make a pina colada.
Yeah. I work out with a hotel like to like basically give their lawn staff like a day off. So my troops are out there like cutting grass with scissors and shit like that, trimming hedges and shoveling dirt, like digging a new pool or whatever.
Cutting the front lawn with hand scissors, and you're like there with a ruler.
But then, like every 3 weeks, right? Like they all get a couple days leave. We have like a big party. Like he does the Grill Master 76. He like personally cooks for every troop. Like, you know, he takes his hat off and he's like super informal, and they all talk, and like so they go through a cycle of like kind of 3 weeks of hell. And then they do like they have like a little celebration, like, hey, you graduated the first 3 weeks, and they have 3 weeks of like no longer being treated like trash, right? Like they're treated like humans, but there's everything's still very harsh, but they're treated better while it's harsh. And then 3 weeks, I don't know what is this? How long are we doing? We're doing a month, 2 months,
5 months.
5 months. Okay,
5 month time skip.
So they go through a whole like cycle, but whenever they mess up, right? Like when one dude mess up, they go back to the beginning. They get 3 weeks of being treated like trash again, right? So they have to rewind a couple times, and by the time they make it to like the 4th or 5th like iteration, if they screw up, they only have to go back like 1 or 2. They don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. So there's a lot of like they get broken down, but then he's doing a lot of like building them up, right? Like he'll go and have like personal, nice conversations with some of them when they do well. Like he's just not always it gets after a couple months, he's not always 100% a dick all the time. Like he still gives them difficult things to do, but the ratio of punishment to praise like shifts dramatically to where they receive a lot more praise when they do things right as opposed to punishments when they do things wrong. But then like occasionally like they still get slammed just to remind them that that's still like a thing that could happen to them, right? To keep them on their toes. But you know, similar to like a modern day basic training, right? It goes in phases, and by the end, they're all very like proud to be a part of the unit. And, like their esprit de corps is really high, and they feel like a family, and like they have had to rely on each other a lot throughout the process to survive the process. And they probably don't all like Warrant Officer McGurk, right? They might be like 50-50 on that, but it's designed to like build a respect, maybe not personal liking, but and McGurk does like most of the shit that he puts them through, he does it with them. Like he doesn't go and apologize to plants, obviously, but
Of course, why would he?
Sometimes he just stands over them like a warlord, and other times he does what they're doing and he does it way better, so that when they do see him just standing around, they know it's not because he can't do it or he's too lazy. He's just standing around to make a point where like, I don't have to do this shit because it would be fucking easy for me to do this shit that's kicking your ass. So like it's all, and all of his NCOs are like working for him, and like they have like behind doors like you know, nights out or whatever, where there's a lot of like upper NCO like camaraderie as well. So it's all very like very army, you know.
So I'd like you to make a roll real quick. Sure. To see how this turns out, because interestingly, it might not be as easy peasy as you think. You're going to be making a career soldier roll, but you're making it at a -2.
Okay, so I don't have my sheet open, but I think it's a +5. So
All
I
right.
think it'll be
So
about
go
a
for +3.
Not great.
All right. So here's what happens. Things are good starting off, and your system is working. But as it gets closer and closer to December, it becomes clear to you that your NCOs are becoming sullen and distant. They're less approachable, and they like occasionally skip out on meeting with you after, to the after-hour drink session.
Okay, sure.
And it's not really clear why.
Well, I definitely look into that. Right? I try and find out. So, like, if any of them are still,
I feel like that's a good future storyline for after the break. Is there anything else anyone wanted to do before we complete our time skip?
No, just basically, Terradin will virtually live in the simulators.
All right. We skip forward to Christmas Day, 3048. The whole unit is gathered at the base of the dropship. Normally it'd be cold, but you live in a tropical planet next to a beach resort, so it's just cool-ish. Rad's face fell when I said the NCPs were skipping out on drinks. Destroyed him.
Never allow that to happen.
Destroyed him. The captain has everyone gathered and says, "Another year has passed, and here we are once again. I don't know what we're going to do. We don't have a job, but we'll be heading off to the world of Somerset to wait for hiring halls and see when we can get our next contract. But don't worry, your salaries will continue to be paid. We've stored up plenty of reserve, and I want to thank all of you for all the work you've done this year. This contract has been one where we've gained many comrades. We've continued to forge our own personal identity, and I think we've come closer as a family. And that's why I bought 10 copies of the latest game, Immortal Warrior, the game 8th Chapter Mercenaries After Birth Before Sleep. Feel free to play them at any time." I thought I would be able to get through that without laughing.
You got pretty far.
I know. I based it off of the way Kingdom Hearts is naming all their games
I
now.
got it, yeah. And a rebirth by memories.
Yeah, of course.
Over 2 days.
Everybody's like, Somerset, don't worry. Somerset's, listen, I'm telling you guys, you're not watching. I'm a magician. The other hand is moving. Yeah, there's a Christmas celebration, and you get a notice by the afternoon that you've got 1 week to wrap up all your shit because you're blasting off January 1st, 3049.
How many, you said we would do this another time, but out of curiosity, how many NCOs do I have working for me?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the exact number,
Okay.
But there's 4 infantry squads, so at least 3, and then probably all the other NCOs. So I don't know, maybe like 8.
Okay. I'm going to cut them all a Christmas bonus out of my own salary.
Interesting. How much?
What'd you say, 3 or 4?
Sorry, 8. There are
8. There are 8?
Yep.
5 whole credits.
two grand each.
Wow. Okay. All right.
I think he's had like a lot of money he hasn't had anything to do with.
Yeah, he sends money home to mama, but for the most part, like, I mean, and this is true for like an enlisted person in the military, right? That lives in barracks and shit. Like, you don't fucking have very much to spend your money on. Like, everything you need is given to you. You have free room, free board. You pay for most of your own eats, but that's really not that much compared to what you make. So most young enlisted people go out and buy fucking cars that they don't need or whatever dumb bullshit that young enlisted people buy. So Butch mostly just banks his money, and he occasionally goes out and like buys a new rifle or something, but for the most part he just sits on a bunch of cash, sends most of it home. So he saves up. He has an account that he specifically keeps to provide bonuses.
So you're throwing out 16,000 C-bills?
Yeah, so
Right.
I'll do $2,000 for each of my NCOs, and I'll have them nominate like. Oh, did you just lose me?
Nope,
Can you
you're
still
still
hear me?
here, kind of.
Okay.
Mostly.
I'm still
My
here.
camera's frozen.
I shit's doing really weird stuff. I'll turn my camera back on here in a second. And I'll do $1,000. I'll have them nominate like an honor cadet basically, or like troop of the quarter or whatever, and they'll get
It's 9
$1,000.
lives. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and I have no part in that decision. I have them make that decision. They
All
decide.
right, yeah. No, they all elect 9 lives pretty much
Okay.
unanimously. I feel like at the Christmas party, the units break down by Lance, but Howler, the Wolfhound pilot, comes to hang out with you guys rather than hang out with the vehicle Lance.
Yeah,
Do we know if he passed his eval?
You have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, all Harridan knows is that the rest of his Lance failed,
Which is not a surprise.
which isn't a
Not
surprise.
I was surprised the Harridan
No.
passed.
I told you, he's
Surprised I
perfectly
failed.
sane. Everyone else is insane.
I don't know about perfectly sane, but
You're on edge, all right?
Hell, okay, so I'm going around to certain people giving special picked gifts, and same with everyone in my lance a gift. I give 9 lives a box of high quality cigars. Is she the one with the lighter?
yes, she's pyromaniac.
Yeah, I give
She
her
drives a
the box
flamethrower
of-
tank.
Yeah, I give her the box of cigars. I give the Baron a one of my secret stashes of very high quality sake from the Drone at Connors Combine, and I give specialized gifts to everyone else in my lance. So a new hat for Pondo, a new Hawaiian shirt for
Keep in mind, you're getting him a new hat, but he never wears a new hat.
well, it's not like
It's like Indiana
a-
Jones. It's the same hat. You can't.
That's like a new what the like ropes that go around the hat, like the Texas tie thing, but for a hat.
All the
And I give
danglies. Yeah, I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
I actually don't know what to give Harriton. Probably high quality Lyran gin or something. Would that be good?
Sure.
No?
Scotch.
Yep.
Scotch.
You just keep giving him out. You just keep putting bottles in front of him until he stops shaking his head.
Stares at you weirdly.
He only
Why,
drinks
what would you like?
Jägermeister cut with deer's blood.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's just like he tries his best to specialize his gifts.
Bandito saving money to pay off his debt.
So I get Lyran gin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magically, there's a bottle of Lyran gin on McGurk's desk.
Oh, come on.
You
With a
re-gifted, you
card.
son of a bitch.
I pour some of it in my ice cream that I got that I'm not sure where it came from. Just mix it in there.
Of course, it's rum-flavored ice cream, you know.
It is now.
Gotta cut it with the gin.
That's right.
All right. If there's nothing else, on January 1st, you overstuff that dropship. It's now got 5 mechs, 5 vehicles.
Isn't it 6 mechs?
Oh, you're right. Yep, I forgot about the Battlemaster. Yep, 6 mechs, 5 vehicles, an entire infantry platoon.
Wait, are we taking Rapier's Jeep?
No, Rapier's
Nah,
Jeep
it's
is
gotta
staying
say.
behind.
Okay.
Sadness.
So they literally have to
Sweet.
take the Wolfhound and the Panther and like get some suspension rigs and hang them from the ceiling because there's not enough space on the deck to hold them.
So does it look like the Panther and the Wolfhound are like at a concert and one's
Yeah.
like sitting on the other one's shoulders?
No, not like that. They
Oh,
look more
okay.
like they're strapped to the ceiling.
All right.
Like, you know,
Uh,
in the movies where you just see like someone like duct taped on there because of some prank.
The Long
Right,
Tom
movie.
as well is also picked up off of the crowd. like how Rad's like, right, movie.
Not in real life. for sure not.
So your unit blasts
I
off.
remember doing that birthday party.
As per normal operating procedure, they have all of you on the bridge of whatever jump ship you take to get to Somerset. When you arrive at Somerset, the hiring hall still doesn't have any jobs for a mech unit like you. So there was a thing last week where someone made a joke at my expense because I said you guys were an A-rated unit, and someone was like, "No, they're D-rated," and they're correct. You are a D-rated military unit because you don't have your own transport. You're only a company sized. You don't have a history. But I'm at A-rated. Like you were doing a good job.
What do we have to get to bump up to C?
Bigger.
Oh, okay.
Bigger.
And have a history of successfully completing jobs. Your unit's been in existence for about 2 years now.
So we're a baby unit.
Yep.
Okay.
So
I give. Oh wait.
I excuse myself from the bridge to go hurl somewhere else.
Yeah, I was going to say I was give him some medicine to stop him from throwing up from the G forces.
months go by. It's March and your unit still doesn't have a job on Somerset, and your unit spent about half of its standing cash just keeping the unit with a roof over the head and fed and training with ammunition. I want to give you guys a chance to do another scene before we move ahead. And just be clear here, morale is rapidly plummeting within the unit.
Yeah. I want to do it's been months.
Yep.
I definitely want to, and we're on a planet or we're on like a space station?
You're on a planet, Somerset.
Okay.
There's not
like?
enough space on this dropship for you guys to remain in space for a super long amount of time.
So what's this planet like? What's our station? Is this a shitty
super
place?
attackable.
Oh, okay.
that's a joke from the Battletech anime. It's a temperate planet. Forests, trees, grass,
Are we on like
hills.
are we connected to a city or a base?
Yep, you're near the spaceport.
Okay.
Basically, you guys rarely leave the spaceport because your mechs aren't authorized to operate on planet. So you're like confined to a small section of the spaceport where you can like take your mechs out for walks, like dogs.
So, sure. So for my guys, for the unit, I want to make an attempt to increase morale here, right? So let me tell you how I want to try and do this. So I feel like we had a really intense, and this is, I don't know if this is separate or included for me trying to deal with my NCO issue, but in general, this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
We had this like really intense sort of basic training style cycle while we were on this last world, so it lasted months, right? And then we're going to now we're in station, so we're going to go kind of in like garrison mode, to where like these guys have weekends off. It's more or less like their training day is like from 5 o'clock to 4 o'clock. So show up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We do like a standardized, not like a you're in trouble PT, but like we all run like 5 miles together, and we all do like calisthenics for 45 minutes, and they go hit the showers, and then they come back, and we do like whatever training we're going to do that day. And we do like a lot of cross training, so people who didn't learn certain jobs go back and learn other jobs. So like the intensity of training comes way down, and like they're done and free to like put on civilian clothes and to go do their business after like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We still do training exercises occasionally, like this week we're going to do a field exercise, so it's going to be 72-hour operations, and then you're going to have like 2 days of recovery or whatever. So the training, the op pace like slows way down, like the operational pace becomes a lot more lenient, a lot more slack. People are given a lot more freedom to do what they want to do, to try and stretch that like goodwill equity out for as long as possible, right? Because otherwise people will get sick of that shit real quick. So they basically get treated like they have a 9-to-5 job for the most part while stationed on Somerset. So like for them, it's like they're not currently deployed, right? Because that's really what it is. We're not currently deployed. We're not on mission. So you basically, your workload is far reduced. You're expected to maintain your skill set, not grow it per se, right? So that's kind of what we're doing. So And during that time, you know, McGurk is out there like for PT every morning, and he might teach 1 or 2 of those classes a day, but he becomes a lot less front and center, right? Like most of the training gets turned over to the squad leaders, and they can make their own training schedule for whatever they feel like their troops need the most. And he takes a back seat. He's like that's when it goes to like almost all like hands-off leadership. Like they still get with him like once a week to like be like, this is the stuff we did, and here's the stuff we're gonna work on next week. And he's like, cool, whatever. That's fine. So that's what the enlisted are doing during this time.
Okay. You're approached by one of the enlisted, one of the infantry corporals named Tetsuda Kinjiro.
My goodness.
He's just like, sir,
What can I do for you, Corporal?
it feels strange coming to you with this, but there's something I need to tell you.
I have an open door policy. You can feel free to come to me with whatever you feel like is important.
I'd prefer that be a closed door policy right now, sir.
Then go ahead and close it. That's perfectly fine.
We've been ordered not to fraternize with you, sir.
Fraternize.
Yes,
Can
sir.
you be more specific?
Second Lieutenant Mjolnir has made his displeasure with you well known within our unit.
Sure. He's entitled to his opinion, as most second lieutenants believe that they are.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
So then, is that what you've come to tell me today? Is just that?
Yes, sir.
Well, I would never tell you to directly to disobey an order from a commissioned officer.
I understand, sir.
I appreciate you coming to me with this and informing me. You know, you need to do whatever's best for your troops. So if you feel like having the second lieutenant not come down on you for activities that he thinks are unbecoming, then you should do that. I offered those activities for you to have fun, because I felt like that's what you guys wanted to do. If that's not what you want to do, then we don't have to do that. That was strictly for your benefit. It's not for my benefit.
Sir.
I'm gonna go play anyway.
I'm sure we would all love to do those activities, sir. I'm just letting you know that it puts us in a quandary. We'll have to talk it out. We're probably not the only squad.
Well, if you want to keep me posted on the, you know, keep my finger on the pulse, so to speak, I would appreciate that. I'm not going to go talking.
He looks
to the second
super
lieutenant.
hesitant when you say that. Like he
Sure.
goes pale and he's just like, what?
That's up to you. I don't care. Look, I get paid to train you guys. Okay. Part of that is I want to keep morale high. So I want you to be able to have your R&R time, and I want you to be able to enjoy it. Just like when business needs to get done, it gets done. Okay. But if you got other people telling you, stay away from me, I'm a terrible person, that's your judgment call. You got to, whatever you think, okay, is what matters. Ultimately, I'm just going to do my job. And you know, if Mjolnir says, fuck that guy, then that's fine. Then he can say that. He's a second lieutenant. He can say whatever he wants, or at least so he believes. So
So I know I'm laughing, but Corporal Kinjiro is probably standing straight-faced the whole time, slowly getting paler.
well, I feel like, I mean, why? What would you have me do, Corporal?
I just felt you should be apprised of the situation, sir.
Okay. Thank you. That'll be all.
All right, when you dismiss him, he leaves.
Yeah. If he's
Quickly.
climbing up, if he's getting all
Yep.
nervous, I'll just let him
Yeah.
leave. I'm not trying to put the guy on the spot. That makes, I mean, because he tells me that, right? Like that makes perfect sense. Like that dude hates my guts.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But and before I would just walk off and I'd be like, fine, you guys fucking do it yourself, right? But like now, this is my job. Like
Yeah.
I'm on the payroll to train these guys, so I'm gonna go to his superior.
That would be Crystal off.
Okay, I'm gonna go to her.
All right.
I'm gonna be in uniform, and I'm gonna be minding my P's and Q's, because unlike usual when I'm just like fucking with her, you know, this is an important, I'm going to treat this respectfully, because this is an important part of unit cohesion, especially now that we're stuck here for months and things are deteriorating. So, you know, I'm going to knock on the door once firmly and stand at attention and like all that.
I think
all
you'll
that.
probably catch her on the bridge while she's running a simulation with the new pilot.
Okay, I mean, I will respectfully stand in the back. I'll make my presence known, but I'll wait until she's got time for me.
One of the Marine petty officers just kind of like physically guides you to some place where you'll be out of the way from all these techs running around.
And I do it because I have no fucking clue
So
what's going on.
they're like simulating flying through an asteroid storm.
I mean, please tell me where to stand because I don't want to be in the way.
It sounds like First Lieutenant Loft is an incredible perfectionist and is really riding them hard to get this asteroid simulation correct. And finally, after they failed for the 4th time, she's like, all right, everyone take a break. Warrant Officer?
Yes, ma'am. If you have a moment, I'd like to speak with you about a training issue.
Ah, something professional. Of course. Why don't you step into my ready room?
I step into the ready room.
There are... I don't think you've ever been in this room before.
Probably not.
Her office.
No.
There are pictures of aerospace fighters all over the place. And in the background, there's a news report going on where you can hear someone say, the Federated Commonwealth today has introduced a new Battlemech, the Caesar, utilizing Gauss rifle technology that's been lost since the Star Leak. And then she like clicks it off and says, sit down, Warrant Officer. What can I do for you?
Yes, ma'am. I had a troop come to me with a concern that Second Lieutenant Muehlner, I mean, to be frank, ma'am, I mean, we haven't always seen eye to eye, and I know there's no great love lost between the two of us. I have a similar relationship with most of the second lieutenants on the ship, as you're probably not surprised to hear. Second Lieutenant Muehlner has banned his troops from any extracurricular activities with me. And while I don't personally have a problem with that per se, I feel like his negative attitude towards me could be impacting my ability to do the job that you are paying me to do. So I just want to try and ensure a frictionless atmosphere so that troop training does not suffer as a result of a grudge.
I think this is the greatest conversation we've ever had, Warrant Officer.
Well, again, I'm not going to go and apologize for any of my past behavior, and I would never expect you to either. But you do pay me good money to do a thing. And
last time I checked, for some reason, you got paid more than I did, and I fly the damn ship.
Well, before I was paid to pilot a robot, and now I'm paid to train people, which has always been my calling. So,
what do you suggest, Warrant Officer? This is your area of specialty.
I don't know, ma'am. My suggestion would be, it seems like you're in a situation where you have too many roosters in the hen house. So either I or we both need to receive some clear guidance on who has direct authority over these troops, right? Because their training, I'm responsible for their training. I don't know what he's responsible for if he's not training them. And if I deem it beneficial for them to have rest and relaxation activities in order to make them more effective in combat, then that should be a decision that I make and not that he makes just because he has a personal vendetta. I think that's the biggest thing is we need to take whatever is personal out of the equation so that troops can receive the highest level of training possible. So I think maybe just a clarification of roles, perhaps, for both myself and Second Lieutenant Muehlner. Because if I'm taking care of his troops day in and day out, I am curious as to what he does on his days. I'm sure it's very important.
I think that's the first time you see her crack a small smile.
But I don't know what it is. I'm just a simple enlisted man at heart, as you know. So I am trying to take my new responsibilities very serious, and that's why you find me here sitting in your chair today. So
I appreciate that, Warrant Officer. I'll see what I can do. Is there anything else?
That is all, ma'am. Thank you for your time. I did notice all your aviation stuff here. That's your passion? That's your calling? I mean, I know you fly the ship, but Are fighters really what you're into? Were you ever a fighter pilot?
Yes, I was for a number of years. So I met the captain.
I've always been interested in flying those fighters. Always thought it might be nice to be in the sky as opposed to being on the ground.
It's certainly something different. I prefer it up there, actually. Strap ship's not maneuverable enough for my taste. I prefer something light. You'd be surprised what an aerospace fighter could do to a Battlemech.
I saw one take a couple shots at Bandito, I think, one time, and it looked like, I think it wasn't a Bandito. It was, right?
Yeah, you guys had a bunch of bombs dropped on you.
Dropped just 7 bombs worth. About
some skin of his teeth type stuff there that he was able to duck out of the way of that stuff. Yeah.
If we had a chance, I'd love to get some aerospace fighters in the unit, but the dropship's a little full. And either way, your unit, your mech lance, should probably begin anti-aerospace fighter maneuvers at some point.
Well, you can mark me down as interested if you start looking for candidates for cross training.
She just starts laughing. She's like, "Oh, wait, you're serious?"
He's just dead. Deadpan.
There are very few Battlemech aerospace pilots. Are you trying to become a lamb?
No.
I see. No. Well, that would certainly be interesting.
Those things are fucking death traps, man.
Yes, they are.
But learning how to fly certainly has my interest.
Well, if we ever have some casual time to get a flight simulator, I would be interested in teaching you some basic maneuvers.
I'd appreciate that.
Now, speaking of basic maneuvers, I need to get back to kicking Prince's ass.
Of course. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know you're very busy.
All right. Harridan,
stand up and salute smartly and peace out.
You got any scene you want to do during your downtime on Somerset?
Not that I can think of.
Gray?
The only thing Benny is going to do is just do his job with 9 lives and then just leave her alone.
Intel analysis. Okay. Goldseg?
I'm going to be keeping every soldier on the entire dropship healthy as I can with the other 2 doctors.
Yep. Dr. Assman.
Trying to get to know them a bit more.
Actually, I want to send a hyperpulse message.
All right. Who do you want to send it to?
To my immortal enemy.
I mean,
his sister.
You're gonna have to tell me which one you mean.
What's his name? The Baron.
All right, you send him a message.
I've had a chance to think it over, and I would be kicking myself if there was more to the story that I didn't know. So mark me down as cautiously interested. And I send that.
All right. Interesting. Gonna roll some dice here real quick. It was a terrible roll. Okay. Oh, Chet can't see it. It was a 5. So 1 week later, first week of April, you all are called to the bridge of the dropship. While you're arriving, several of the Marines that are guarding the dropship bridge are talking about how many new mech variants are being introduced this year. One of them is just like, yeah, I heard that there's 7 new variants, including a new Draconis Combine Atlas. The other guy is just like, shut up, they're here. And they go back to like port arming their weapons. And sorry, I lost it there for a second. You all are directed to the communications terminal where the captain and the first lieutenant are waiting for you. So the captain's standing with his arms folded and is just like, it appears that we have a new contract.
No?
Hallelujah.
We've been subcontracted by another unit in order to carry out one of their tasks. It appears that Lyran Intelligences interfering with us once again.
Fascinating.
Have you heard of a mercenary unit called the Storm Riders?
Not to my knowledge, no.
He was possibly heard of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you guys would keep up on, you
The
know,
competition.
other small. I mean, they've got a couple companies, right? They're not like a full regiment, but they're also not just like one lance of mechs. They're bigger than you, and they operate on this planet and in this area. Is that something you'd keep up on?
If we were going to be here for a while, then I'm sure we'd probably would have familiarized ourselves with the forces that were on the planet.
You've all heard of them before, then?
Okay.
Yes, vaguely.
One of their company commanders, Captain Gossuk, has asked us to take over a contract to a world at the edge of the periphery. We'll be working for them, and they're working for the Alphen Mineral Company. We're going to core. It's 2 jumps out in the periphery. It's the middle of nowhere, and it's a frozen ice ball. However, we've been asked specifically because of the unusual and specific skills demonstrated by Bandito.
I'm not liking the way this sounds.
Apparently, word gets around that you're something of a sensors expert.
I dabble. I think I'm all right.
I think you're all right too, which is why I'm perfectly okay with taking this contract. All of you will be getting some brush up on your sensor skills in the next few months, because we're going to be spending an entire year on a frozen ice ball with no hyperpulse generator. So, the only communications we'll get are 2 jump ship drops away. It's going to be a long time before we hear from anyone. You'll be spending every day in your cockpits scanning minerals, looking for iron deposits for the Alphen Mineral Company. It's going to be long, it's going to be boring, it's going to be cold, and it's going to pay very well.
That last part is all that really interests me, sir.
I think I recall that planet when I was younger.
I'm sure nothing terrible will happen.
Absolutely not. Nothing's happened on core since it's been founded, but we'll be interfacing our infantry with their infantry. When we arrive, they'll be issuing us special equipment to convert all of our vehicles into ice-capable. We don't have the specialty equipment in order to get hover APCs to run during the middle of below 30 snowstorms, so...
One's very good of them.
Fantastic for the mechs, though. Hopefully it would help keep them cooler.
You'd think so, but apparently not. The game rules don't dictate that particular thing.
Apparently not. All right.
Only in the video game is that a thing.
Yeah.
It should be noted that your mechs will be unaffected by most snow patches on this planet, but the ice will definitely slow you down, and as you'll be operating in the middle of mountainous regions, any rubble or mountains will also slow you down. It's going to be hard maneuvering out there, so keep up your piloting skills. And for Blake's sake, bring something entertaining, because it's going to be a year before we come home.
Oh, we have those new Immortal Warrior video games to look forward to.
He's just like, everyone's already beaten them.
That's fair.
Really? I haven't even had a chance to look at one yet. Well,
that would explain why you're not in the high score charts yet.
I would even dictate that.
I mean, Haller has the highest score.
Yeah.
He literally does nothing but play all day.
All right.
Just these stags just like 4. Just close to 3.
Wow, when I mentioned Core and Storm Riders, chat was like, I know what book this is. I've read this book. And I'm like, yeah. Everyone was like, yeah, I'm going to guess what clan it was. And I was like, guess what, bitch? Your guess was wrong. So I feel like this is a great place to take our break. We'll be back in 7 minutes for the next part. for the next chapter of our story. This is a really Butch McGurk focused episode, by
Was
the
it?
way.
Did
Yeah.
I may have gone on too long about
No, I feel like it was
Fun.
good to emphasize it because your growing battles with Second Lieutenant Mjolnir are pretty key.
And administrative duties are like, sign this.
Yeah, no one wants to
Yeah,
see you guys
writing
do.
screenplay
There's a
there.
reason we've never sat down and been like, let's do paperwork together.
Right, like I just want it to be clear that like Butch McGurk is still like an unhinged like infantryman, but he's also like he's very cunning. Like he can like most military professionals, like career military men, like he can dress up and play the part to get what he wants. Right, like he's not trying to be friends with the XO, but he knows that to get what he wants, this is how he has to act. So he's always trying to play the hand that he's dealt to get what he wants in the end. So it's not, for those of you that are like, if anybody's getting worried that he's going straight and he's not gonna be getting into ridiculous antics anymore, like that's not it at all.
No,
like,
no one's expecting
Okay,
that,
good.
Rat.
All right,
No one, literally no one.
he's just playing the situation to his advantage every chance he gets. Like that's what he does. He's very used to making something out of nothing, right? Like do more with less. That's what he does. And you can always stop me if I start going on too long about that stuff.
All right. Well, we'll be back in 7 minutes, and enjoy the break music.